All right. Today, we are going to talk about the one thing that almost everybody that I've talked to that has a problem with speaking deals with. And this one is going to hit close to home for some of you. But I have to make this disclaimer. Before we get into this, I want you to know I'm not a doctor. I don't play a doctor on television. I'm not even smart enough to probably even qualify as a doctor. But what I'm going to say may just save your professional life. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Sam Linton Show, the podcast designed to help you shift your mindset, find your voice, and change your world. Sam is a pastor, coach, and expert communicator, helping leaders and entrepreneurs like you step into their purpose, speak with confidence, and make a lasting difference. So let's dive in.
Okay, here it is. It was a Saturday night, and I had been pastor at this point for 12 years. I'd been speaking regularly for years before that, leading in different areas of ministry and also in the corporate world. And I went up to deliver the announcements. I actually had to baptize some folks. If you go to a church like this, we baptize people during the service, adults, and I was about to baptize them. Well, I was late getting up to the baptism, and they were finishing the last song, so I was like maybe a half of a beat late. It wasn't very long. And then all of a sudden, because somebody said to me, "Sam, you're late," I had my first ever, unfortunately not my last, panic attack. I know this is something that you might not like hearing because I'm a professional speaking coach. I help people that are confident in their areas of leadership just get as confident as they are in their speaking. But it was weird because I've done a ton of speaking off the cuff. I've even done speaking that wasn't planned or that I filled in for people. But because I was late, I had this massive panic attack. I couldn't catch my breath. My heart was racing. It wasn't related to my health. I had been in ministry long enough to know this wasn't a heart attack because heart attacks don't come on in most cases that rapidly. In most cases, I'm not a doctor. A lot of times people were having a heart attack for 3 days. They didn't know, but it came on so rapidly. I knew it was a panic attack. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to speak because I couldn't catch my breath. So I made the band go to their next song, so they wiped their worship set out. I destroyed that. I baptized the folks, and then I had another panic attack on my way to do the announcements after I baptized the folks. And this started a 10-month-long battle with anxiety. 10 months, every single time I would speak, and I was speaking every other week, 4 times a weekend. So we're talking, you do the math, 4 times 16, whatever that is. No, it's more than that. Do the math, okay? So 4 weekends out of a year. This went on for 10 months. So that's 40 times 4. That's 160 different panic attacks because I was speaking every week, either preaching or doing announcements. And every single time I would speak, I had a panic attack. Not to mention the other times I was speaking outside of the church, panic attacks, had to do corporate training, panic attacks, had to do lead meetings at the church, panic attacks. This was the worst season of my life, okay? So today, I want to talk to you about how to speak if you have panic attacks. Now, full disclosure, I got rid of the panic attacks. Also, full disclosure, I didn't take medication for it, though I wanted some. Didn't take it. I didn't do anything surgical to remove it. It wasn't a health thing. So I had to learn how to do this with panic attacks because I believe, now this is where my faith stuff comes in, I believe that it is God that healed me of the panic attacks. And I believe also some of these things that I did during having panic attacks while speaking enabled me to get by. So I'm going to give them to you. These are not silver bullets. So if you are struggling right now with anxiety, tension, if that's you and you're like, oh, I can't, every time I speak, I have a panic attack, these aren't necessarily going to be your silver bullets. So please don't expect that. But some of them might help you. So, ready for them? Here we go. The first one You have to embrace the fleeting nature of panic attacks. Number one, you have to embrace the fleeting nature of panic attacks. So, what do I mean by fleeting nature? Most panic attacks don't last the entire time you're speaking. Most panic attacks last for but a moment. So I went to a counselor. I did a ton of therapy through this, ton of self-work, a lot of that stuff. And she asked me the question, very important question. She said, how long do these last? And I said, they last forever. She goes, are you having one now? I said, no. So she goes, okay, you're going to have one next time you speak. I said, for sure I am. She said, time it. So right before I would speak, I would have a panic attack, and the longest one I had lasted about 90 seconds. So next time I met with her, she said, hey, can you handle being uncomfortable for 90 seconds? I was like, for sure. She's like, can you handle maybe just fighting through it for 90 seconds? I said, yeah. She said, what would you do if you stopped and just gathered your thoughts for 90 seconds and say, I need 90 seconds, folks, give me a minute? I said, nothing really would happen. So you have to embrace that the panic attacks are fleeting. Most of the times they don't last. They're not forever. They're just momentary for what I know. All right. I actually wrote a book. It's in the back behind me here. Kill My Fear. I wrote this entire book based on panic attacks. It's not about speaking. It's about getting over anxiety. It's a Christian book. So it's got my faith background in it that explains how I believe Christians should be able to get through panic attacks. But I had to embrace right off the bat that this isn't a big deal. Like, you've all suffered for longer than 90 seconds, right? If you have a panic attack, you've had worse things happen. Like, I remember my mom being sick when I was in high school or in college, and I watched her go through cancer and eventually pass away. That was worse than that panic attack. I could handle that. I survived that, so I can survive this. So embrace the fleeting nature of panic attacks. Second thing, get your heart rate up in other ways. Second thing is get your heart rate up in other ways. What do I mean? Well, I don't consider myself the best when it comes to exercise and health. I'm a little overweight. I should do more. I lift weights. But one thing I've consistently done is I walk a lot. I'm a walker. So if you have a form of exercise that you do, my recommendation is ramp that up on the times where you're not having a panic attack. So what I did is, and I got this idea from New York Times best-selling author John Acuff. He said one time when he was going through some panic attack stuff, he ran every day like his life depended on it. So every single morning, he spent the first 30 minutes of the morning running as fast as he can, as hard as he could, to get his heart rate up so that his heart rate at rest would be less for the rest of the day. Well, I adopted that. For the 9 months, roughly between 9 and 10 months, that I struggle with panic attacks, I ran almost every day that I could. In the morning, if I preached at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was at the gym, you better believe it, at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was racing and running and getting my heart rate up so that I was exhausted. So for my resting heart rate went way down. My resting heart rate went way down during the panic attack season because I was really, really trying to focus on controlling my heart rate's elevation as it reached that panic attack level. Now, it didn't eliminate it, but I am certain that it kind of reduced the drama associated with a rising heart rate. So get your heart rate down in other ways. If you do kettlebell, maybe intensify that action. If you are into Peloton, riding stuff, whatever it is, if you do like walking, maybe try a little light jogging or walk longer, walk faster. I want to encourage you to get your heart rate up in other ways so that when you're speaking, it comes down naturally. Okay? So that's 2. I know I'm rapid firing these. I have 7 actually. Third thing, think about what other people that you're speaking to are thinking about. So think about what your audience is thinking about. Now, when I was having these panic attacks, I didn't just have them in groups where I'm speaking to 1,000 people. No, I wish. I was having them in meetings. So I had a board meeting. There was like 5 people there. And I literally would go into my office and be like hyperventilating before I had to run this board meeting. Now it's a board meeting. I've known these people forever. And these are members of the church. They love the church. They love me. This is stupid. I'm like, this is dumb. So I think about what they were thinking about. And that would help me. So I would look at Bill. Bill was one of our board members. And Bill was getting up in age. I'm like, Bill's worried about driving in the dark. Like, what was he thinking about on the way here? He's like, I hope Sam doesn't run over because it's going to be dark, and hope the meeting goes quick. And, I'm going to try to get you out of here before the dark. So I would think about, Bill's not thinking of how my meeting is going. He's thinking of, is Sam going to end this meeting before dark? Is the real estate group, because I was into real estate at that time, I had a real estate meeting where I was closing on a couple deals. I had a panic attack before the real estate meeting. I remember thinking, okay, well, what are they thinking about? They're thinking about, are the documents in line? Or they're thinking about, is the check going to clear? Whatever. Or they're thinking about, is Sam going to have all of his ducks in a row? Whatever. So I would focus on what they were thinking about. Now, there's a 99.9% chance that your audience, whoever it is, if it's your team, if it's a group that you're pitching a deal to, they're not worried about your panic attacks, bro. I'm sorry, they're not. Lady, they're not they're not thinking, I hope this person doesn't have a panic attack. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about what it is that matters most to them and how that impacts them. So why would you think about you when you could instead think about them? It's a shortcut. It's a hack. All right? So think about what they're thinking about and how you might actually think through your process if you were in their shoes. That helps. And it'll remove the pressure, because if you don't think about you and they don't think about you, you're going to have a better meeting. Okay? 4th thing. This one is counterintuitive. If you've listened to the first, dozen episodes, however far we are in the podcast, if you listen to them, you're going to know that I'm not huge on reading or structure. I'm more about you being in the moment and making sure that you're connecting. So this is an area, if you are struggling with panic attacks and you feel like you're not going to be able to get through, this is an area where I would rely a little heavier on structure. Structure will save you the legwork of coming up with stuff out of whole cloth. So if you have panic attacks and you get up and you're not prepared, your panic attack is going to be even worse. Let me say it again for the people in the back. If you are a person who has panic attacks and you get up to speak and you are unprepared, your panic attack is going to go a lot worse. Because now not only is your mind blanking, you have the shortness of breath, you have that tension. Not only is that going on, but you also have the tension that most every presenter has about, well, do I know my stuff? Like, that's a big part of this. So my encouragement is be a little more structured, have a little bit more of a dense outline, and stick to it. I still don't recommend you read, but when all else fails, read. So when I was speaking, and I never ended up reading, but when I was preaching, I was talking to the other pastors. They knew I was having panic attacks, and my mentor was like, dude, if worse comes to worse, just read your manuscript. At that point, I was manuscripting my talks because I was having panic attacks, so I was over-prepared. And he goes, if you just get up there, you can read. I'm like, anyone can read. You can, we all learned this in 3rd grade. Like, we can do it. This is the date of this happening, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be not the best. It's going to be a little boring, but you're not going to go into a blank. I still wouldn't recommend you reading. I still would throw that out and try some of these other things first. But you definitely want more structure than you might be used to if you're having panic attacks. Some of the reason why you might be having panic attacks is because you're not prepared enough and you might not have enough material and you're feeling like you have to make this stuff up. So I do recommend that you prepare more so that you're feeling more comfortable talking. And if you're like, I don't want to sound robotic, then work it out like it's a conversation. Hey, you know what I learned today about nuclear physics? Hey, you know what I learned today about building houses and architecture? So you want your structure to be conversational, though you still want more structure than what you're used to. If you get up there and you feel, unfortunately, as if you are panicked and you have to come up with extra stuff, boy, oh boy, are you in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. So make sure that you end up being prepared and that you don't panic. All right. So take that in mind. Be more prepared. Have a little more structure. Rule of 3. Do something where you know what your anchor points are. Okay. Number 5. So we're up to 5 now. Senko. This is kind of huge. If you need to take a break and step off to the side, take a break. Okay. I also didn't do this. Full disclosure, I did not do this. So, how do I say this? I never got to the point where I had to say, look, I need your help. I need a break. I never got to that point. I did get to a point where I would be a little slower, take a pause. But there's nothing wrong with you as a speaker stopping and going, I just need 1 minute. I got to look at something here, pretend like you're studying your notes. Or the biggest thing is take a sip of water. I just took a sip of ginger ale because I'm 95 years old. I drink some ginger ale every now and again. This is 0-calorie ginger ale. And it's okay to go say a point, make your point, and then take a drink. Did any of you find that repulsive? Did I lose my credibility with you because I took a drink? Do you think your audience is going to have a problem with you coming out with a fire hose amount of content and then stopping and taking a drink? I don't think so. So don't be afraid to lean into, I need a break. Just 20 seconds. That'll get your mind ready so that you're able to, in fact, have a better hold on what you're going to say next. Not ideal. None of these are ideal. I've tried them all, but these are none of the silver bullets, but take a break. Okay. So we're on to 5. Number 6. This one, let me tell you, this one probably helped me the most in the mindset category of the panic attack. But again, you're going to be like, this isn't going to help me because I know there's none of these are perfect, but you just hear me as I've walked your road. Don't think of people in their underwear because that's gross and it's stupid. But think of who the people are at the most intimate moments you've had with them. So, if you know, now if you don't know the people, and I've had to speak, and I speak every weekend in front of a group of people. I largely don't know all of the people. I know a good portion of the people, but I don't know everybody. I don't know all their stories. I don't know about their relationships. Let's say you do know them. Let's say it's your team. Let's say it's a conglomerate of different teams. Let's say you're speaking at an all hands and you're addressing a group. Well, one of the ways that you can circumvent this thinking of having a panic attack is go through the list of people on the invitation list and think about the interactions you have with them. Oh, I remember. And what I did is, and this sounds horrible, but I looked at the first 30 people in the front rows of the church, and I would stand there while the music was going on, and I would just get a couple names. And I go, ooh, I remember he called me when his wife filed for divorce. And I remember walking him through that process. Oh, I remember she called me when she lost her job, and I buried her mom last year. Oh, I remember when their baby was born, and I was there in the hospital when they had the baby. So as a pastor, I get the privilege of having these intimate, sacred interactions with the people that I speak to. But if you're an executive and you are a leader of a team, or you're an entrepreneur and you've built a team, you've been a part of some people's sacred moments too. You were there when they landed their first deal. You were there when they got their first contract. You were there when they found out that the company was being sold, but their job was being saved. Whatever it is, those moments. Focus on those moments as the moments that you think of, not, ooh, this person, they're going to think I'm a really, really bad leader because I'm having a panic attack, right? They're not thinking of that at all. They're not thinking about you at all, but this will help you to think about them and go, okay, these people, they're going to be graceful here. If I lose my breath in a conversation, they're going to be as graceful to me as I've been to them. And it helps. So don't think of them in your underwear. That does not work. Don't think of them that way. But do think of them in the most intimate moments that you know them with, or if you don't know much about them. And this is the second thing, and I did this with Dale Carnegie a lot. I would be given a roster, like sometimes a week or two in advance, and it looked like this. I would have highlights, and I have a roster here. This is actually a church roster, but I have people's names on here of people that we're looking at for ministry stuff. And I would read about what their manager said about them, or I would read about their role and how long they were at their role. And I would go, Amy Baker, how long? Amy Baker's a fake person, by the way. I wonder what made her go into that role. And I would become curious about them. I wonder how she likes moving from San Francisco to Pittsburgh. I wonder what it was like for him to go from being in the legal department, because sometimes I would have these notes from the managers, being in the legal department to now they're in the marketing department. So wonder what that feels like. I wonder what that feels like being more front facing instead of more process driven, right? I would be curious about the people so that when they came in, I would have conversations with them. So then it wasn't like I was speaking to strangers, but I was connecting with already warm acquaintances. I have to deal with people in sales right now because I run my own business. I have to deal with people that I've never met. I was at a networking meeting this morning, and I would just ask questions like, how'd you get in this business? How do you like this? What's your challenges? That helps because you're not thinking about you. So think of who people are, think of who they might be, and let your curiosity drive your mental energy so that you become a better connector. Okay, this last one is a weird one. I'll admit it. But again, I would say the previous one helped me the most. This one helped me in the longest term. And this one I still use now. And I do this with all of my clients when I'm working with them. I was just talking to somebody this past week who was struggling with confidence in their role and confidence in communicating. What I have them do is an exercise where I call this the confidence borrow exercise. What they do is they write down areas where they, and forgive me for being so strong, freaking kill it in. All right. Now, I work with elite leaders mostly. So I work with executives. I work with entrepreneurs. I work with business owners that own 7-figure, 8-figure businesses. I help them speak. So I'm like, tell me what you killed it in. They're like, oh, and all they're thinking of is I suck at speaking. That's what they think. And I'm like, no. Tell me, how did you sign your first 7-figure contract? How did you negotiate that commercial bid and underbid to get the win? How did you go on television? How did you speak in front of a group of actors and actresses from Hollywood? How did you, tell me about that and write down the things that you killed it in. So I make them write that list. And I said, well, what was going on in your mind when you got that confidence? Oh, I just did it. I just powered through. I just, did this. And I said, well, if you did it there, you can also do it here. One of the things that we all do, and this is bonkers to me, is we isolate our successes and we incorporate all of our losses. So let me explain. We isolate our successes. Well, yeah, that was good. I'm really good at building a business, but I suck so bad at this, so that means I'm a terrible leader. No, you have to isolate the thing. Okay, you're not the best at speaking right now. And I think even the most incompetent, unconfident communicator can become a good speaker by simple focus. And so what I would do is I would intend for you, instead of isolating those wins, to incorporate them. Go, yeah, well, I killed it at this. I do this a great deal. I'm really good at being one-on-one with people. I'm really good at making connections. I'm really good at figuring out the details. Figure out what you're good at and talk about how you're good at those things. If you're good at one area, you can be good at another area. If you'll let me talk on the spiritual side of things. In my book, the Kill My Fear book, I tell a story that everybody, Christian and non-Christian alike, knows, the David and Goliath story. And I don't believe I'm David at all. And I don't compare myself to David, but there are things that are central to that story that we see happening with David. One of the things that David does when he is about to, David was this little guy, a shepherd, and he is about to go fight the commander of the armies of the Philistines, Goliath. Goliath is 9 foot 9 inches tall. He's gnarly looking. He's muscular. He's got all this armor. He's growling. He's been taunting the armies of Israel for, 40 days. This is a bad dude. And David is like, I could probably kill that guy. I mean, I wondered what David thought about, but this is what David said. When he is approaching his battle, he says, look, in my life as a shepherd, I've encountered lions and I've encountered bears. And I wanted to say lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, because I'm 5 years old. But I digress. He says, I've encountered lions, I've encountered bears. And the same way that I was delivered by God from these animals that were trying to kill me and harm the flock is the same way I'm going to get delivered by this Philistine, this uncircumcised evil guy. And so that's what he uses. And what I realize is there's a powerful form of self-talk there where he's saying, if I won over here, I can win over there. If I conquered something that was nasty over here, I certainly have the same mental wherewithal to conquer over here. Now, mine is spiritual. I believe if God delivered me from these incredibly difficult parts of my life, then he can also deliver me when it comes to these dumb panic attacks. And I call them dumb panic attacks. Another bonus tip, don't own it. Don't own your panic attacks. Meaning, don't say, well, my anxiety, my panic keeps me. I have anxiety. I know what psychologists and doctors say. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to own bad things. I don't want to own bad things. Like, I want to own a yacht. I want to own a castle. I don't want to own an anxiety disorder. I know you might suffer from that, but don't make it yours, because the things that we make ours, we most often conflate with our identity. Instead, say, hey, I'm a guy that overcomes panic by speaking through panic. Hey, I'm the guy that is able to withstand losing my marriage, if that's something you've struggled with. I'm the guy that's most likely overcome going through a bout of cancer, if that's something you've struggled with. And if I won there, I can win here. Now, this is just a snapshot of something that I guide my clients through, but I would love to work with you and help you in your endeavors. So I'm going to do something that I have never done before, and we're going to do this live. I am going to do something that I've never done before if you're a podcast listener. And this is what we're going to start. This week, I am going to do open office hours. When I say open office hours, it's going to be a 1-hour session. I am going to teach for about 20 minutes-ish. And then for 20 minutes, I'm going to take questions. And the subject that I'm going to talk about is how to have more confidence. We're going to do this on Thursday. There is a link in the show notes for you to sign up to register for this event, this training. It's nothing big. It's not a huge ordeal. It's just going to be us. It's not going to cost you anything. It's just going to be me talking to you how to build more confidence as a speaker, kind of some of the things that I'm talking about now. And you'll get an opportunity to interact with me. I'll answer questions you might have, but I really want to give you the opportunity to do this. And I would love to see you in this session. So it's going to be over Zoom. You'll need the link. So you have to register. You have to register for my email list in order to respond. But I would love to give you a confidence boost for that hour. It's going to be this coming Thursday. So I would love to have you there on Thursday, and you'll see the details for it. It's going to be mid-afternoon, depending on your time, and you'll see the details for it in your invitation when you click on the link. So with that said, remember, confidence is an inside job, but there's some things that you can do to boost it. When you're having a panic attack, embrace the fleeting and realize that you are who you are. You're not a person that has panic. You're not a panic attack person. You're a person that struggles with panic attacks, and you can overcome them just like you can overcome anything else. So with that said, my name is Sam Linton, and I want you to shift your mindset, find your voice, and change your world. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much.